Here are some frequently asked questions about flying for the first time in a small aircraft. Will the flight go ahead in bad weather? No, it's not just bad weather that will postpone the flight. We like to be very cautious, always erring on the side of caution, so bring a book, have a plan B, there's always another day to go flying. What do I wear? The aircraft's always quite pleasant temperature once you're up to cruising altitude, but when you're on the ground it can be quite hot on a hot day and quite cold on a cold day, so dress for the weather. Airfields are sometimes fields, so make sure you bring some shoes that you don't mind walking in wet grass or mild mud. At a top tip, sometimes you've got a seatbelt that sits a little higher, so if you wear a shirt with a collar, then it can make your neck a little bit more comfortable. How much time do I need to allow for the flight? It's best to treat your flight as a day out. Expect it to take the whole day, even if you're only in the air for an hour. By the time you got there and had a briefing and had a chat and fueled up and gone for the flight and stopped and circled around somebody's house and come back again, and it can take a little while, so plan for the day out. Can I use my phone? Can I take cameras? It's generally recommended, encouraged that you take lots of pictures. Why not share the experience? It is a privilege. So yes, definitely do all of that. Try and keep your flash off, especially if it's a nighttime or a lower visibility flight. And also if you keep your phone on silent, that would be lovely. Right, where do I put my things? How much can I bring? Weight and balance of an aeroplane is very important. So just make sure you've shown your pilot exactly what they have and what you have or haven't brought. Make sure you get your phone, camera, glasses and some water to hand. Right, how much time will it take to get into the air? There's quite a few things for the pilot to set and check and double check, and information to pick up from air traffic control, and to brief you, to check the engine. So it does take a few minutes to get up into the air. If you want to know what's going on, then you can always ask your pilot to read checklists aloud and be past the process. Oh, do I get a headset, and can ATC hear me? Yes, you do get a headset. Little aeroplanes generally quite loud, so we all wear headsets. Can ATC hear me? No, not without pressing the button. So the button will be handled by your pilot. The headset plugs in like this. There are two jacks, one's to hear, one's to listen. You can't put them in the wrong way. If you do, you win the prize. While on the note of ATC, there are various things that happen at different phases of the flight. So if there's a conversation that's going on between the pilot and ATC, or there's a message that the pilot's listening to, you may see that your pilot puts their hand up, and if you could be quiet for a couple of moments, that would be very useful indeed. Will I feel sick? It's a personal question. It's quite unusual, but not impossible. So if you are likely to, from previous experience, then take some of those seasickness pills and just let your pilot know. They can check that there are sick bags in the aircraft. Make sure you just keep the pilot updated on your condition. Is there a toilet on board? No, there's not. So just make sure you go to the loo before you fly. Will there be a meal service? No, but you're more than welcome to bring snacks for the flight crew. Any snacks available? Just remember, if it's a hot day, there is no fridge, so chocolate might turn a little bit gooey. How fast do we fly? It's about 100 miles an hour. But of course, if the wind's blowing in your face, then it will slow down. If it's behind you, then it'll speed up. What happens if the engine fails? It's a good question. Fortunately, everything still works. All that happens is you lose that thrust, which means that we need to trade some of our altitude for some speed, and that means the aeroplane still keeps flying, and we can just look for a field or a road or an airfield to land in. If this happens, then just stay calm and keep your hands and feet clear of the controls, and just get ready to do as your pilot says. Landing, how does that work? You will generally get close to the airfield and then do a circling procedure. It's known as joining the circuit. So a fixed pattern around the aircraft, around the airport, the aircraft can slot into, and then in turn have their turn at landing, and taking off aircraft will join that circuit. It's what's known as a critical phase of flight, so best to keep quiet at that time and allow the pilot to focus on what they are up to. If you are approaching the runway to land and it's not just right, then the pilot will go around again. It's known as a go around, and you'll see full powers put on, and you'll stop descending and you'll climb back up into that circuit and just take another hit. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not dangerous. In fact, it's a safety measure, and it's what we like to see. So don't expect, just because you're looking like you're about to land, you'll definitely land. Okay, here we are at the airfield. So as you can see, it's normally some kind of gate, not terribly formal. Your aircraft could be either one of these lower wing varieties, you can see the wings lower, or it can be a higher wing variety, like you can see next to the red one there. Just keep an eye out, keep looking around whenever you're walking out and around the aircraft, because you never know when one is about to start up. This is a Piper, it can take 4 people, so carefully avoiding the propeller. There's only one door on these, and it's on the opposite side to the pilot. You can see it says exit there. There's a footstep and a handhold, and then the door. Now you can see when I got in there, I carefully did not stand on the bit that says no step. That's a flap, so we don't stand on that part. So here we are inside the aircraft. You've got 2 seats, and they do go back and forwards on rails, so I can lift it up front and slide it forwards, and that then gives you enough space for the rear passenger to get in. And you can expect to see a fire extinguisher and a first aid kit in all aircraft. To use the fire extinguisher, there's just a little clip on there and pointed at the base of the fire should you need to use it. And there are pockets where you're likely to find your sick bag. You can see the flight controls here move from side to side and back and forth, so as long as you're free of that, you're all good. There's also 2 pedals and brakes down at the bottom, and they are another thing to avoid with your feet. And the thing that looks like a handbrake here is a flap lever, so just expect the pilot to reach down between the seats every now and again to adjust things. Now you can see just down there is a little vent. I can show you one on this side, and that is how you let cold air into the aircraft, or block cold air from the aircraft. And you will see those both for the front seats, but also in the rear section on both sides. So your passengers should be able, your rear passengers can see those. And there is where you plug in your microphone and your speakers from your headset. Passenger, pilots, and also in the back. Okay, now sat inside the aircraft now, and the way we close these doors, it's going to be quite hard with one hand. You pull the top in, and then you tighten this and it locks in, and then you've got another lever down here, and that stops the door going anywhere. So to then get out, open, open, and it opens. Now if that doesn't work, treat this like a handbrake, pull it in, release, and then let go. There's also a luggage section here, so space to put luggage, but as I say, make sure the pilot knows what you've got so we can make sure it's not too heavy. Okay, so here we are with a high wing. This is a Cessna 152, but 182s and 172s are also popular, and they've got 4 seats. This one's only got 2. You can see the wings above the fuselage, so the most likely thing that's going to happen is you're going to give it a bit of a hit with your head. So don't do that. As always, avoid going near the propeller, avoid hitting the struts. This is the passenger side. Simple single hand to get the door open on these, and the window just to catch and it's open. Nothing more complicated than that. Okay, to adjust the seat on these, there's a little lever somewhere under there. You can just see the one for the pilot side, and that slides back and forwards on the rail, and then this rotation will lift and drop the seat round if it's too high. Controls just the same, keep your knees clear, and pedals under there just the same, keep your knees clear. There's still baggage in the 2-seater and the 4-seater. Now it is worth noting that aeroplane seatbelts aren't necessarily the same as car seatbelts. This type is a normal clip in and then lift to release like an airline, and then there's a shoulder strap as well. So once you've attached, you can then clip in the shoulder strap section, which will go up there, and there's adjustments on both sections. Just remember, in the emergency, you've got to remember it's not a car seat belt, and it is slightly different. Now when it comes to allowing enough time to get to the airfield, just remember that they're quite big and there's lots of hangars and buildings that you could be going to, so make sure you leave a good chunk of time to get to the airfield.